All right, folks, we got another star here with us. We got Jesse Morphin Garcia, and then we got Angel Virgen with Skyline Inspections, right, Angel?
Skyline Smart Home Protection, baby.
There you go. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do over there?
What we do is we deliver a promise, and that promise is protecting your asset, which is your home, your business, or your vacant property.
Nice.
We do that through technology. Much like we're talking today, we're interfacing through technology. That's where home security is now, where technology and home security are now meeting together, where now you have the software and the technology to really protect your home 24 hours a day.
So would I be able to monitor my home from one of these bad boys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you see how you have a picture of your son?
Actually, that's my nephew.
Is that your nephew? Okay. Well,
everybody thinks it's my son, but it's my nephew.
If he comes over and you're not home, and you can always interface with him through one of your home cameras. So, home security is moved from just a necessity to securing your home to really a luxury, staying connected with your home. So if somebody's in your room, you have cameras like in the living room or whatever. Let's say your nephew's jumping up and down, you can just chime in and say, "Hey, get off the couch," and boom, he gets off the couch.
Right. I'm curious, how does this affect marriages?
You know what? It affects marriages plenty, actually. I had a situation. Let me tell you, I had a situation, and they're like, it's almost going to cause a divorce, okay? I'm not trying to discourage you from getting an alarm, but I have a friend. She's a cop. She works at night. Husband decided to go out to a club while she was out. She only found out because of the history on the alarm. He got home at 5 o'clock because he had to disarm the system. So, is it good for marriage? Maybe.
Just don't get caught up, right?
If you're a straight shooter, it's good for you. You're going to be sneaking around. I don't know.
So Angel, so it's an alarm based that has a keypad as well as cameras, right?
Yes, and we're offering right now a new touchscreen keypad. If you go to my feed, you can see a picture of it. It's a new age smart panel where it works like a tablet. So these touchscreen panels are awesome, but this new panel by IQ2 is really revolutionary. It has a built-in glass breaker, which means normally it's by the door or in the main room. So there's windows in that area. If somebody were to break the glass and bypass the sensor from actually opening the door, the glass break detector built into the panel would detect that. Also, there's a built-in camera on there. So anytime that somebody arms and disarms the system, it takes a picture of them. So you have a history of when it happened, and you have a picture of who armed and disarmed your system.
Okay, so what is normal cost for something like this?
If you call corporate or if you get solicited by somebody on the phone, I would say you're going to get a decent system for about $99 down, $60 a month, right? Right now what we're doing is because we're doing network marketing where we leverage our network to get referrals, we really want to honor that referral and give really great prices. So we're doing a no money down and very minimal monthly depending on how much equipment you select to put into your house.
Okay. You talked about protecting your investment vacant properties. What is that?
Yeah, so it's a new thing that we created about 8 to 9 months ago, where we secure vacant properties. So, Grant Cardone always says this: if you solve problems, you're gonna make money, right? Don't chase the money. Find out the problems, solve the problems for people, and you're gonna be able to make a profit. So what I realized is, as soon as I started working with realtors, I started thinking how can I, maximize my time and get more referrals. I started thinking about working with realtors, and I started thinking about working with brokers. And then after brokers, I realized there was another step above that, and that was the investors. Typically, brokers are investors, but right now we're specifically talking about investors. I thought about what problem they have, and a lot of them, because of the homelessness that's growing rampant in this city and the laws, there's a lot of squatting going on. I didn't know about squatting. It sounds unbelievable when you kind of go over it, where somebody can move into your house, a vacant home that you've purchased, you have the deed to. They can move in there, they can change the locks, and they can set up residency. And when you call the cops to kick them out, you're thinking they're going to get evicted or get kicked out because they're trespassing. It could be a $5 million home, and the person it looks like a bum. and the cops can't do anything because of squatter rights. So we developed this program called the Smart Flip, where we secure property with no credit check and no contract. So it's beautiful for the investor, because typically, conventionally, the alarm industry puts you into a contract because they have to be able to get the money for that equipment that they're putting up front. That's how come you get into a contract. Much like when you buy a phone, you don't pay $800 for your new iPhone. You just pay a monthly service fee, and you get into a contract, because by the time you pay your monthly service fee every month of the 2-year period, a little bit goes into your system, a little bit goes into your phone. So in this case, we went ahead and upfronted the equipment because it's people I trust, right? There's investors. It's their home. There's some type of equity there, some type of relationship there. So we put in the system, no contract, no credit check, just a monthly service fee, and they're able to secure their property from squatters and people breaking in to steal materials. And because it's a short term, 4 to 5 months is typically what a flip is. If it's a good flip, if you know what you're doing, then you're in and out, and you don't need a long contract. So that's where it really works.
Okay, so you're aware I flip properties, right? So I've been doing flips for 8, 10, 12 years now. I don't know. But one of the things that I do is I've been using there's a competitor out there that I get the equipment and I pay like $15 to $20 a month. But it's my equipment, and I put it into each one of my flips. I'm in there putting the door sensors and the living room sensor, and I just pay the monthly. But then after I sell the property, I go in there, I pick up my equipment, and I leave. But the question that I have is that other system is it's a cellular. So is this something similar to that, where I don't need a phone line? Because a lot of homeowners think that you need a home line in order to have alarm system service.
Correct. So if you're going to have a really top-of-the-line system, you're not going to use a phone line, or you're not going to use internet. It's going to be an independent system. So that way, when you have power outage or your Wi-Fi goes down, your system is not compromised. So the system that we offer has a cellular unit that runs off a 4 LTE network.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it's a 4G LTE network. So it's like your cell phone, where your cell phone runs independent from any other, connection in your house. All you need to do is have a cellular connection to the cell towers that are all around the cities, so that your panel has a cellular unit inside the panel. That way it runs independently. It can operate without any kind of connection to internet.
Okay, so as an investor, can I also put cameras into one of the flip properties that I have with that cellular tower, or is that something different?
It's something different. So cameras can operate and record without you being there, but if you want to get the feed, there's no other way around it than to have internet, because how is the camera going to send a feed to your phone without internet access? It can record, and then you show up to the property and get the recording, because it doesn't need Wi-Fi to record. It just needs Wi-Fi to send you the signal. So there's no way around it. I do have one particular investor that's very adamant about it, and it's not really a security reason. It's because he wants to keep an eye on his workers.
On the workers.
Yeah, it's on the workers. So he puts the cameras inside, and what he does is, he buys, I think Spectrum has a no contract. So he hooks up the internet. We hook up the cameras, and the thing about the cameras is that he pays up front for the cameras, and then typically when the home sells, the new homeowner likes the system, likes the cameras, they keep it, and I give a refund to the investor for those cameras.
Oh, okay. Well, no, it sounds like that's a win-win, right?
Yeah. Another thing, Jesse, you may be, I'm not sure of the competitor that you're using, but it's a do-it-yourself. Okay, so when you do it yourself, there's a big difference in the response time. So if you're a burglar, you probably have a lot of experience doing it. You didn't just wake up and say, I'm just going to go break into a home. Those people, are not very skilled at it. But if you're a skilled criminal, you're going to see a sign from if you're paying $15 a month, it's because there's a sign in the front saying protected by, and the name is not really that known, right? If you see a sign that says Brinks Home Security, you know that the response time is going to be quick. You know that the people there are going to be very competent, because it's a very, very refined, automated response time. And that's what's going to make the difference between a cop showing up, within minutes, and a cop showing up within 20, 30 minutes.
Okay.
So would you say then, depending on the signs out in the front, that name brand or whoever's on there really is something to kind of like brush away like would-be burglars?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like you know, it's like if you go to McDonald's, right? And then you know how fast you're gonna. You know, it's like, okay, I'm in a hurry. I'm gonna either go to McDonald's or I'm gonna go to this place that I've never even heard of, but they sell burgers. Now, if you're in a hurry and time is an issue, you know if you go to McDonald's, you're gonna be in and out because their reputation is all about. It's not about the burger; it's about the time, right?
Right.
That's what the reputation is about. So that's what Brinks is: the reputation of the time and the response that they're gonna have, and that's what you're paying for.
I like that. And what
Okay.
I like too is that it sounds like you are really like into utilizing your network. Like how did you come about like figuring out you went like in phases from the realtor to the broker now to the investor. Now give me this experience of like, how are you seeing your business grow through networking?
The business model that I have is really for scalability. I want to be able to grow my business and for it to really pay off in the long run, right? So there's a different model. You can door knock, and obviously you're going to get some referrals if you're a good door knocker and you provide a good service. But then there's only so many doors you can knock a day. So for me, I build relationships, right? And I started building relationships about a year and a half ago. That's when I started getting into this. And I realized the more relationships I have and the better relationships I have, more people are reciprocated when it comes to people that they like, people that they trust, people that they kind of got along with. They say, hey, you know what, this is a gentleman I want to put in front of my customer because he's been a solid individual. Now, I'm kind of like in the gray area, and this is something I'm just be talking just open about. I'm pretty wide when it comes to my network, right? Some people just think hey, get a group of people, maybe like 5, 10 key people, and really cultivate that relationship, focus, and pretty kind of just not spread yourself out too thin, and you'll be able to get more referrals because the connection is a little closer. Now, what I have done is I've really spread myself out, and I do that through social media presence and through physical presence. So I do a lot of social media, I do a lot of interacting, and when I'm in face to face with somebody, it's very animated, it's very dynamic because you want to make a difference in people's lives, and if you're not going to be there all day, you really have a short period of time to get their attention, cause an effect, and maybe motivate them. And that's what I do. I try to motivate my network because if I motivate my network, I'm giving value to my network, and that value is going to come back in some form, typically in a referral.
Are you so at this point you're team oriented? You got a good team behind you
Yeah.
to fulfill orders, to service. Your cop time rate or timeline is really low. The cops show up really quick.
Yeah, so the team is Brinks. So Brinks is going to be the team that I leverage because they're not personally on my payroll, but because they're part of the system that I'm pretty much providing, saying, hey, you're gonna get a response time. Brinks is that leverage where it's all about leverage in business, right?
Okay.
I'm not gonna reinvent a monitoring station. I'd rather just leverage Brinks. They're known. Their response time is they've been around for 100 years, so obviously they know what they're doing. As far as how I'm able to sustain the growth is really through systems. So I've set up systems to make the process more streamlined. And as I get more business, I'm looking at my system to see if it's being maximized, if it's being optimized, and I'm looking at it closely. If I need to hire more people, then I will hire more people. But as of right now, I have a very small team because the systems are really what do most of the work.
Systems.
Now, let me ask you this. Let's go back to social media because I do see you on social media a lot. How are you leveraging that, and what platforms do you find that are working the best for you?
I like Facebook a lot. I think Facebook is more about business, especially when it comes to real estate. I read a lot of articles when it comes to is Facebook dying? Are the audiences, what type of audience is really moving to other platforms? The younger audience are moving to more YouTube, more Instagram. But then again, it's like I'm not selling to the younger audience. I'm selling to homeowners. I'm selling to professionals. So Facebook really is the pinnacle of that type of network marketing because a lot of real estate is very strong in social media. I think I don't know how many friends I have, but 95% of them are all realtor related. So as you said, Facebook is social media have many platforms, but I feel like Facebook is the best when it comes to network marketing. Whereas Instagram, I use it more to kind of show who I am, pictures, maybe some music in my stories, just kind of give you a flavor of what type of personality I have. And I feel that it adds to my relationship, because now you're able to see like a more personal side. And I feel like personally, I get along well with everybody, and I have a style that blends well with people. I grew up in the 90s, and a lot of people that are working nowadays are of that age. So we can relate.
Yeah, I think you got it going on, man, because you're absolutely right with the whole Facebook and the Instagram, and you're using them right, where knowing most of your demographics is going to be an older demographics, and they're on Facebook. And I tell people this all the time: go to Facebook, and I like the fact that you're using Instagram to show more of your personal side. I'm the exact same way. I do the exact same thing. Just that way, you can have fun with it, just mess around and be dumb. What's the dumbest thing you've done on Instagram, man?
I'm pretty selective of what I put out there. You have to be methodical. Your brand is something that you want to be very, I guess, intentional with, right? But to answer your question, I can get a little goofy. I remember one time doing a quick video, like faking like I'm yawning, like, oh, and then I'm like, psych, I'm ready to go to the gym. You think I'm tired? I'm ready to go. Kind of something like that, where it's kind of a little playful. But typically, I stay pretty professional. We're in this to grow the business. We're not in this to have to really the friend building and relationship building is really a bonus, but we're here at the end of the day to create results. And what I post is result driven. So everything I do is pretty calculated.
I like how you brought up the whole personal brand, because I think it's important for everybody out there to realize, you guys, if you are logging on to anything or you have a user password, you are a brand. I don't care how you cut it, you are a brand. I was actually listening to, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Dan Locke, but he had brought up the whole thing about doing a personal brand and versus business and being personal and how far to go with it. He said pretty much kind of like, you know what, you could do whatever you want as long as you understand, like you had mentioned, Angel, about what are the parameters and how would you damage your personal brand. And something that I guess would be, if you're showing like drunken pictures all the time, you're smoking dope or something like that, that's your personal brand. And that's how you're like diminishing it. But if you're being normal, you're being goofy, you're just being a human being, people like that. People gravitate towards that, because they want to get an inside of it. And I'm sure like you've seen how people will respond, to some of your stuff by their comments or, some of your posts.
Yeah. And I would take it a step further. I think that if you really want to stand out, it's a fine line because you want to stand out. You want to do something where it's going to get attention. But there's a thin line between getting attention and making a fool of yourself, or doing something edgy and doing something highly controversial, right? You don't want to alienate anybody, but at the same time, you do want to stand out. You do want to make an impact. You do want to be relevant and be creative. And sometimes when you're creative, especially over creative and over expressive, you could kind of lend yourself to maybe some criticism as to what you're doing. So I think that's where I shine. I feel like I'm able to express myself, who I am, because I stay true, right? There's nothing, there's no inconsistency, because what you see is really who I am. I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. I really like to focus on the details and really like to implement. If there's an issue like between me and somebody, I can talk like for hours and for days, just because I'm that dedicated to making sure everything is in line. And that's what I do. But when I post, I'm very creative. And to be honest with you, I do things. I think I've done things without really following anybody's lead. I just feel like, what would I like to see, right? I look at myself like, what would I like to see? What would I like to hear? And when I first started social media, that's how I did it. I didn't start soliciting. I didn't say, hey, I do home alarms. What I did was I started posting pictures, and I started captioning them with some type of thought-provoking caption that would get people to like it. And once they liked it, I'm able to now engage with them and not sell them, just engage with them. And over a period of time of engaging with them, and they kind of get used to what I'm doing, Then we create that relationship. And after the relationship is built, you know, you want to be interested, not interesting. You're asking them questions about their business. You're finding out how you can help them. Ultimately, they're going to want to say, hey, at one point, they're going to say, hey, what do you do? You know, and once they say, what do you do? Now their ear is open. Now you're not selling to them. You're basically answering their question. And that's when you get the opportunity to really express what you do to help them.
Wow. Wow. That was impressive. No. Angel, what kind of platform or where are you getting your material? Like, you know, what mentors are you currently like seeking information from?
You know, what I like to do is really watch the champions, Kobe Bryant, Peyton Manning, Michael Jordan. Even though they're not in business, their work ethic, their passion, their determination, their ability to seek guidance when they're the best. Who do you look for to challenge you? You know, you do have to have mentors no matter how good you are. You have to have coaches no matter how good you are. And something that I do is just really I look at people that have passion, people that are determined, because that transcends to what I want to do. Not necessarily don't tell me what to do or how to do it. I just want to see an example of a high level of passion and determination, because I already know more or less what to do. You know, build relationships, be consistent, refine my system, constantly think about how I'm going to innovate, how I'm going to add value to my network, and really that itself, I already kind of know what to do, and I will pick up things along the line from the mentors. But one thing I really do focus on is people that have done great things, because people that have done great things have a characteristic where they're very persistent. They don't give up, and they're very creative in a way where they're looking for new ways to develop. Even though they're great, they still want to get better. If you look at like Michael Jordan, people consider him the greatest of all time, but he never considers himself the greatest of all time. He doesn't calls himself the greatest of all time, because he's so dedicated to improvement that he's not even looking at how he is in the current state and how good he really is.
How has your business been impacted since you started working in this form? Like, you know, growth wise.
Growth-wise, I would say that it's impacted tremendously. I think it's the most important part, because, you know, to be an entrepreneur, you really have nobody telling you what to do, no clock to punch in. You know, you can take a day off or not take a day off. You know, so that's really it comes down to how bad do you want it? Do you really want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to be successful? How much success do you feel is adequate for you to be, you know, happy with what you're doing? And I look at it as like a never-ending challenge. It's a challenge that, you know, every day you gotta keep challenging yourself. And the way I do it is I associate myself with bigger targets, bigger people that have their identities much stronger. They're more polished. They're more developed. You know, they're well-read. So when I engage with those people, it's really just putting myself in a higher state of challenge. And ultimately, I feel like I do well. I'm very adaptive, and I'm pretty well-read. And so I can bring value to the table. So when I meet somebody that's high caliber and high identity, it's really like a challenge to me. Like, where am I at in life? You know, if I'm able to keep up a conversation, able to respond to that person and bring refreshing ideas to them without actually taking over the conversation, because, you know, you want to listen more, but you do want to add value to the person, because they are taking the time to talk to you, and you want to let them know that their time is valuable. You want to honor that by giving them some deep responses.
What? Now, when it comes down to, because you seem very passionate in what you're doing, but we had a discussion amongst ourselves, and, you know, being an entrepreneur, how do you know when to turn it off? Because I don't know if you're married. I know you're not married because you have a girlfriend, right?
Yeah, Marissa, and we have a daughter together.
Hi, and you have a daughter?
Yeah.
So, like, how do you learn how to, like, turn it off, when to turn it on? Because now you're dealing with different dynamics, you know. Now you've got relationships, you know, you've got a child. What are some of the techniques that you do?
You know, I don't think you turn it off. I think you just direct it direct it differently, project it differently. Because, like I said, when I want to grow and expand myself, it's not necessarily to hear the words, but more see an action. Right? I want to see somebody that's great doing what they do and seeing how tough they work. So when I'm around my daughter, I may not necessarily be specifically talking about business, but I'm always talking about growth. I'm always talking about improvement, always pointing things out. Ask a lot of questions. You'll be able to build a dialogue and see what kind of situation the other person's in, what kind of scenarios they're in. And then from there, you can kind of create a dynamic where you guys are elaborating on the situation, especially if it's a challenging one. And then from there, you guys can kind of work together on how to go about maneuvering through those type of situations to get an ideal outcome. So I'm always talking to my daughter about things like that, and it's no different than when I talk to a person in business. We're all looking to improve. We all have our personal struggles or obstacles. Some are in business, some are personal, but they're all pretty much the same. Where they're going to take a deep level thinking, and they're going to take some type of valiant effort to get through that, whether it's in business or something personal. So it's really never off. So I would say that I never turn it off. I'm always looking to build. I'm always looking to identify issues and help people resolve their issues, because I feel like you help people solve their problems. You get commissions are not always commas and zeros. Having meaning in life is different than having money in life. When you have meaning, it's a different type of wealth. It's something that, they say, oh, I want happiness in my life. It's like, happiness is what would I say?
Doing what you
I would
love.
say meaning is senior to happiness, because there's always going to be things that come up and come down, but if you have meaning in your life, you're always going to ultimately feel significant. You're going to feel like your purpose is there.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I over-answer a lot of questions, so you guys can cut me off anytime.
No, you're good. Give me one regret that you have in your business in the last 12 months that you wish you should have implemented or you wish you shouldn't have done.
Regret. I regret not working harder. I regret not reading more. I feel like I have a pretty good structure, but I feel like I could do more. I always say, like, when I first got into business, I said I was operating at 40%. Now I feel like I'm operating like around 60, 70%. And I do feel that I can do more. And why don't I do more? Why don't all of us do more, right? There's always that real life distraction, or that real lifetime, like fork in the road, where you go this way instead of going that way, right? You go to King Taco instead of going to Subway. Why do we do that, right? It's just something that it's our imperfections. It's our lack of maybe foresight. I feel like I'm a very cognizant and very capable person, but there's still many flaws that I have to fix. And I think that the one thing, I can't really think of any kind of regret that I have in business, because I feel like it's gone very well. So I have to say that the regret would be not to work harder.
Just constantly improving, man. Improving. I like that. Let me ask you something. What's something that about you that would surprise most people that they don't know about you?
I think when people see me and they see that I'm pretty muscular, they kind of put me into a box where, like, I'm kind of like like more physical than mental. Once they start talking to me, they realize that I'm more mental than physical. I'm somewhat of a nerd. I like to read. I like classical music. I like a deep conversation. I like, I'm a classic person. I'm a throwback. I like researching history. I'm very fascinated with history. Our founding fathers, just people in history that have done great things. I'm just, I'm blown away by it, and it really it builds the type of person I am. I'm a very honorable person, like I said, a classic person, and even though the times are changing and things are getting, a lot different with technology and just the landscape of people and how they interact. When I get into an elevator or when I come across somebody, I'm always saying, hey, good afternoon. Hey, how's it going? I'm always sparking up a conversation, because I feel like, as people, that's how we define ourselves, with our relationships, with how we treat one another, and I pass on good energy, and I feel like that energy comes back in one way or another. So I would say it's like that. People may think that I'm I don't think, I'm a nerd. There you go. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome stuff, bro. You got some really great stuff, and I think your success is going to keep continuing with the way that your mindset is, and you're passionate about what you're doing and going after building relationships. I think is super key. And you're doing it in different manners. You're doing it in person, but you're also utilizing the social media aspect. which is another form of, just being a social being, so that's really working out.
Well, I just like the fact that he's selling himself before selling a product.
Yeah.
He's selling himself. He's, making that brand of himself, and building that rapport. And that just goes on to like what we were talking earlier, where right now, technology, yes, that's where everything's at. That's where, the shiny objects are. But it's one thing where we're spending money for these leads, whatever the case might be, but it's missing that human interaction. Somebody yesterday just asked me, they're like, hey, well, how long do you believe us realtors are going to stay alive? And I'm like, forever. Realistically, it's just going to be that we are going to have to adapt. But at the end of the day, I need to see the person in the eyes that I'm doing business with, to feel comfortable with the decision that I'm making. And I could see that, Angel is on the same page with that, which is awesome.
Yeah. The difference between information and wisdom is the robot and the person. You can have a robot, you can program them to do anything, but the real life situations when people are across the, eye to eye together, there's a certain energy that a machine can never project, that a machine can never connect with. Humans are unique in that way, where we send off energy, and it's something that you can't see, but it's something that you can definitely feel, and the feeling ultimately is the experience, and the experience is what's going to create that dynamic, whether you had a good one or a bad experience. And it's all personality.
All about personality. And I think if you start doing it now on your social media platforms, you're going to be a whole lot ahead of most people, because they're so scared of it, but it's just another way of expressing yourself and showing who you are as a person. And if you look at, like, I don't know, like within your industry, are you seeing the change of, like, the millennials, obviously they're always on their phones. So that's why we were having this conversation about, like, the whole realtor, are they going to phase out? And I was thinking, well, these companies probably are looking 10, 25 years out, where people are like that, want that instant gratification. I want to press a button. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to call anybody. I just want the information. That's it. Are you seeing that within your industry as well?
No, actually, home security is an industry that's really breaking out, because of technology. Before, security was really a luxury, where a lot of, just expensive homes would have it. And then it became a necessity because, the economy went down, and when the economy goes down, crime goes up. It became a necessity. But now we have a stronger force, and that's called a want, right? People will buy something they want over something they need almost 9 out of 10 times. Right, that's just our society. So now people want, like you said, the millennials. They're very into technology. People want to be able to control their thermostat. People want to be able to unlock their door, not because it's something they use every day, just because they want to show off, maybe, and say, like, hey, look what I could do with my house. Look what I could do with my phone. Oh, I got a package. Let me just open my door. Let the mailman throw it in. Boom. Look what I could do. Right. And it's really something that goes beyond security, and it has to do with technology. People are very attracted to new technology. And when it comes to home automation, that's something that is going to be at the forefront of the future when it comes to home security. It's going to be more about home automation and luxury and convenience than it is going to be about security. But since you have both, that's what's going to drive the market to go really high, especially with the way things are going now. The market's going to be wide open. And let me tell you, there's a new game changer that's going on right now, and it's called financing. So these home security companies are starting to finance. If you go to Brink's website, you can now finance all your equipment. So you no longer have to decide, okay, how many cameras I want, how many cameras can I afford. Now you're going to be able to finance everything with 0% interest. So it's going to be built into your monthly. So it's something that's going to change the way the industry is. It's going to put more debt into the industry, but at the same time, more people are going to have higher tech security than ever before, just because of the whole finance thing.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It just started coming out. So it's going to change the way things go, because when people can't afford, people want to get a camera. People want to tricked out their house when it comes to home security, but they don't want to pay anything up front, or they don't want to pay a high monthly fee. So if you can finance everything with 0% down, it's really going to create a dynamic where people are going to get more than really what they need. And it's an example like college, right? Before, college was very inexpensive, but then the banks came into play and they started loaning the tuition. So then the colleges got smart. They're like, hey, if they're just going to take out a loan, let's just raise our prices for tuition, because the banks are going to cover whatever the student needs anyway. So that's where the cost of tuition went skyrocketed. So I think that the cost of home security is gonna go up in that sense, where people are going to upsell it a lot more. So there's going to be a lot more money to be made. Because people are going to sell $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 worth of equipment. They're going to finance it, but they're going to get paid a commission on it up front. And that's what's going to drive the people to do more alarms, because more people are going to want it, and there's going to be more money to be made. And those two factors are going to drive the amount of agents that come in and do the service.
Wow. So people, if you're thinking about getting a home security system, you better get it now. Don't wait till later, because then that's when the prices are going up. Supply and demand, baby.
Supply and demand.
Wow. The prices aren't going up. It's just that the more that you're going to buy for your property, because you're financing everything, that's what's going to cause you to get more than what you would have got. So even though the prices didn't go up, the amount of money you're spending is going to go up.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's a very strong dynamic. It's a game changer. There's going to be a lot of people making a lot of money in the home alarm industry. And, I got into the home alarm industry because I saw a trend, right? I was working at a dispatching. I was dispatching truck drivers. I did that for about 14 years. And I reached a cap where I was making $100,000 a year. And, the cap for a dispatcher was about $60,000 a year. So I was making way more than that, just because of my capabilities and my ability to show my value to the owner. But it was capped. So I started thinking, like, what can I do to make more money, supplemental income? I'm like, what business can I get into? So I started thinking about the climate of this of the industry, and I saw that there was changing laws, that they reduced the penalty from breaking into somebody's house from a felony to a misdemeanor. So to me, and then it went retro. So people that were in jail serving time, they got resentenced based on this new law that passed. So there's a ton of people that were in jail serving time for breaking into homes that are now out on the street. And then the people that are out on the street that haven't been caught, obviously they're not going to get a felony anymore. They're just going to get a misdemeanor, which means that you don't go to jail. You just get a ticket, even if you get caught broken into somebody's houses. I'm thinking, okay, with the economy the way it is, with the new law the way it's going, there's going to be a whole ton of break-ins. That's going to cause a need for home security. And that's what I want to do. I wanted to meet that need. And that's why I got out of dispatching and I chose home security. Home security is not this prestigious industry, but it is something that you can make a lot of money off of if you get in at the right time. And I saw all the signals saying, hey, this is the right time, because there's going to be a strong need for it. And with this whole finance thing going on and with home automation, it's just going to be a huge industry to be in.
Wow, that's crazy. Angel, so thank you so much for sharing all that intel, especially at the end. I did not know, all that is happening in your industry, which is awesome. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they contact you?
You can contact me on Facebook, direct message me on Messenger, or you can just do the old-fashioned way, give me a call. Phone number is 562-412-1830. So you guys can give me a call. We get great prices. Aside from the prices, aside from all the equipment and Brinks being your monitoring supplier, we do the best part of the service is really my service, my ongoing service. As soon as you sign up with me, I'm your security guy. You don't have to call Brinks for any issues that you have. You don't have to call Brinks for any changes that you want to make. You can do that through me. And because I have a system that supports that, you're always going to get a quick response. You're not going to be on hold. I do all the footwork for you, or my team does all the footwork for you, so that way you have that supplemental support. Because if somebody door knocks you, or somebody calls you from Florida, somebody calls you from Connecticut giving you a system, guess what? They're going to give you a system. They're not even going to give you as good a price as I am, but they're going to give it to you, and then that's it. You're done. You're never going to talk to them again. If you have any issues, you're going to call. You're going to be on hold for 30 minutes, because let me tell you something about the industry. It doesn't matter if it's Brinks, Vivint, or ADT, or any other company. They all have very poor customer service. Very poor. They're very good at monitoring, but when you call, very poor customer service, and that's where I come in. That's what I do. I do customer service. I'm public relations, so I'm going to be there to support you when you sign up and moving forward.
Awesome.
Right on.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you once again. And, we'll definitely be in touch. Talk to you
All
soon.
right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate it,
Thanks,
Angel.
guys.
Thank you.